Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, looks like we're actually going to be ready to start yelling about some Rocket League here in a second. It's going to be Vanquish...
35 minutes late.
Yeah, right. It's Vanquish Untethered versus... Oh, Swarm, thank you. Oh my goodness, Swarm. So we're actually going to be jumping in here shortly. Give me a few seconds. And we're actually going to start with Pashy off the bat here.
The BQ's Waffles going to get up the pitch towards Pluto, but he can't get on it. Nice shot goes in from Waffle, and it's in already. 8 seconds gone. 1-0.
Waffles out of the gate. So they actually had already played a match, as far as I can tell, if I'm remembering correctly, and I do want to get confirmation on that.
That's a good point. Do we know who won that one?
Yeah, we don't know actually at the moment who won that one. But no, Waffles coming out of the gate looking really strong. But Untethered always looks really strong. Swarm's also extremely good at playing in retaliation to things. So if they're pushing, if Untethered is pushing in against Swarm, and Swarm can manage to get some slight advantage in there, they'll be able to capitalize that really well. Something that Cosmic Aftershock does very well as well. We're going to jump over to Lichinio here in a second.
All that ball's floating dangerously, but Stocky just about gets it away. Pluto comes in though with kind of a shot on goal, but nobody's there to follow up that. Lichinio knocks it towards the goal, and Pashy's there to avert danger just for the time being. And now nobody's going for it whatsoever.
The other
with a shot, ooh, hits the bar, and it's in. Waffles.
It's Waffles again. The one thing you're going to notice again about Untethered, it kind of started with Lichinio, but everybody on Untethered is extremely fast. They all play extremely quickly. There's not a whole lot of patience coming out of Untethered really at all, ever. Let's jump into an overview here.
Not much patience at any game at this level.
That's true, but when you look at someone like, I'm going to say Cosmic again, or even Team Epic, Team Rocket to an extent, there's definitely some patience when it comes to, okay, we need to make sure we're waiting back and actually planning on how to take this attack. Untethered just kind of goes for it and really hammers it in. That's Lichinio missing just slightly, and he's knocking it back into the corner.
Pashy floats it up into the arrow. Both DeBoer and Stocky go for it.
Just sneak it in just up top. Wow.
Apologies if I'm quiet. Sadly, there's nothing I can do about that. Chewy, I don't know if you've got any volume that you can give me.
I have. Give Quest as much volume energy as you can. But yeah, no, there's your amp is actually already as up as it's going to be. A little bit of mind games on the kickoff there, honestly, from Pluto. And it looks like Lichinio again is going to be knocking it back out towards the middle. And he's been on top of it. He's been kind of on top of the ball most of the game so far. And again, like I said, we're not sure exactly what happened in the previous match, but we will get that for you as soon as we can.
Yes, we will also update the
There's Pluto
as soon
one.
as that's possible. VQ Pluto scores 3-1. 2 minutes gone. Wasn't entirely paying attention to that because I was trying to work out what the score from the first game was. But, ooh, that should have been a save by DeBoer and Pashy there. At least one of them should have got there. But never mind. 3-1.
Yeah, I'm not even sure what Swarm is doing incorrectly. They're playing right. It just seems like Untethered is actually going over top of them. Every time... Perfect example right there. Every time someone goes up for something, DeBoer there is a perfect example, but every time they go up for something, Untethered's just beating them to the punch. And that is definitely going to have to get changed here shortly if Swarm wants to place pretty highly. That just dribbled in there. It's weird. It just kind of rolled directly into the net. Yeah, that's...
Swarm do not appear to be on their game at the moment.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, even in the games yesterday, that would have been easily saved, but instead it rolls gingerly over the line. But now they're on the attack.
It looks like it's partially a communication thing, as far as I can tell. If you notice, everyone was kind of pushing up there at the same time. Now they have Lichinio and...
Oh, Lichinio with a shot. No, they can't save it. 5-1.
They're all pushing a little bit too hard in the directions that they're going. If you notice, DeBoer just pushes a little bit too far past the goal there and can't double back in time. He was the furthest back. Should have probably hung back and stayed there, making sure that that Swarm was going to be able to push it back out past Untethered.
And they're underway again. Lichinio beats the ball to the punch, and the ball's floating around the middle. Stocky knocks it up into the corner of VQ's area.
Yeah, and Stocky is Stocky's an interesting player. I haven't seen very much from him, but when he needs to turn it on, it seems like he can really get it going the way that his team needs him to. And that's kind of a generic thing to say, but if you think about it in terms of, oh, we really need someone that can actually play defense because we're getting a lot of goals scored on us, Stocky seems like he's the guy that can just kind of turn that on for you, be your utility player.
Yeah, something of an all-rounder, whereas most players kind of have their intended positions, so to speak.
Right. Yeah, let's jump over to Pashy and see kind of what he's been doing. I mean, Pashy's known, obviously, for a lot of his really, really high-level 1v1 play, and gets beaten just barely by Lichinio.
Swarm just getting destroyed here.
This is actually a really interesting matchup, because you do have Lichinio versus... Oh, we have Stocky complimenting the server quality. Let's just say that. We have Lichinio versus Pashy in this match, who two of the upper echelon, like top of the top tier 1v1 players. At some point, goals for Orange are just becoming kind of blasé. Kind of they just happen and they're there. They're just happening to us. Yeah, so no, you have Lichinio, you have Pashy. I mean, Zabor's a fantastic player. Waffles is fantastic. Everyone in all of these matches are great. It's just this match is incredibly interesting to me because they tend to be similar play styles. Just seems like Swarm is getting the better of them here.
Yeah, but there is an opportunity now. Swarm with the goal. The ball just about tucks it over the line. Possibly should have been a save once again, but at this point, do you think it really matters? I suppose you have to ask. You have
1:19 seconds left to score 5 goals. I don't know how...
to take it to overtime. It's impossible, obviously.
I don't know how math works, but that seems like it's maybe a little bit too much.
Yeah.
So no, we have... Again, Swarm just really pushing in, but not being able to quite execute. There's another decent shot, but not quite at the right angle. And then you have Waffles just pushing straight down the field, and if he can beat Stocky, which he cannot, and it's knocked back out by Pashy. There you go. We're going back to Waffles. I was going to be following this up. No, maybe not. Kind of holding back, waiting to see exactly where everything goes. And at this point, if you're untethered, you kind of just hang out, really. Like, there's not really... The more goals you...
need to push is that
right.
5 goals. And realistically, it's not going to be done in the 35 seconds that are left.
You don't want to waste your goals, let's put it that way, yeah. That's a decent redirect by Stocky, though. That's a good goal by Stocky. That's the thing. When they get the chances, they're actually hitting them. It's just a matter of them getting there and being accurate with it. Because Stocky, with that shot, I can't expect him to actually steer that normally and properly in general with the way he came down on it. But following up with it and making that second shot's fantastic. It just seems like when they get the ability to make a shot, it's a little bit slow and a little bit off to the side.
Alright, 13 seconds to go. Will there be any more goals? You have to wonder at this point. Stocky could possibly get one here, but no. Lichinio just does enough to get it away. And that's almost certainly going to land.
Yep.
Oh no, not quite. Yeah, right on the centre circle. Okay, that's no idea where that's going in this series.
Okay, so we're going to jump back to the main menu. And we will jump We will jump into the next match when we get the new server information. While they change servers.
Indeed. VQ won the first game, so that puts them 2-0 up in the series, I believe.
Yeah, no, yeah, absolutely, and that's so. As far as Swarm and Untethered is concerned, I said it in the match, and I believe that it is a lot of really similar playstyles, and they're going to end up. It's going to end up being who can out close play each other is really the key, and that's going to be the case for a lot of these matches. I mean, you have Cosmic, who can play over the top a lot, but then you also have Flipside, who plays over the top really well, and then Swarm and Untethered are all really good at playing the close short game, but they're also decent at aerials as well. So it's all a matter of which one of those comes out the strongest and who can play the best.
Absolutely right. Is there another call going on? No, that's just Skype being confused. Right, so we're still just waiting on the information for the next lobby. But when is it going to come is the question. Also,
Yeah.
do we know what's going on with Cosmic and Flipside?
If you join the same server information as last time, Chris, it will jump you right back into a new match.
Ah, wonderful. Didn't occur to me that the details would be the same. You can tell I have no experience doing this, can't you? Right. Every time I go on that spectate screen, there's always just such an urge to go, yeah, why not? I'm going to play this one. I can definitely match their skill level.
Just auto-join to whatever team decides to have you there. Well, we're not going to kick you off the team or anything. So we're starting off again, and this is game 3. And I do not have the proper overlays turned on, so we're going to do that just now. And it looks like, yeah, Untethered won the first game as well. So this is the third game. Now, this isn't necessarily elimination. This just starts Swarm off with a relatively
Decent.
Yeah, and it looks like Lachinio just barely missed, but luckily Waffles was there to knock it away. It just starts Swarm off with an undesirable win-loss record, right? Like, they go through and play all 3 other teams. It's just a matter of, can they come back and be 9-3 when it's all said and done? Chances are probably no, but they want to try to at least not be the number 4 seed and have to fight their way through 3 other teams in the gauntlet.
Although that's the same for the third place team as well, because they both play each other in the first game of the gauntlet. So ideally you want to be going first or second, and that is quite a good goal there by Pashy.
Yeah, and Pashy, from a deep angle, decent pass, and Pashy just knocks it right in, and they skipped it because it's not super impressive to them, but hey, everything is impressive to people that aren't currently in the game.
Indeed.
So,
nice aerial knockdown into the box there, but De Boer just about gets it away from his own goal. He goes up, passes to De Boer, gets a shot off,
and De Boer goes right in. It looks like they heard what I said between the matches. Last match you had a lot of lower ground play and some small aerials, right? Like just getting that advantage on your opponent. In this match, it looks like it's just a whole lot of them just going up to the roof and knocking it back down to keep the pacing off for their opponents. You have Lachinio. Waffles, man, right out of the gate.
You do wonder, was the server something to do with the first 2 matches for VQ? Because on the current form, Swarm are just dominating, and 3 goals in a minute.
Yeah, let's jump over to Pashy. And it looks like, and I believe that Swarm is actually probably one of the best teams in the world. And granted, the 4 teams in this tournament are the best teams in the world, but when it comes to individual play skill, all 3 of the players on Swarm are consistently really, really, really good.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, we saw that in MLG yesterday. They took Flipside to 7 games in the end. They lost it. They kind of choked in the last two games, sadly. But it was a fantastic spectacle, and they played so well in the games that they did play. They did, like, keep close. Was it 3 or 4 overtimes out of the 7? I'm not entirely sure.
I can't even remember.
Garage, and it was just in overtime. Yep, overtime. You guessed it. So
here comes Lachinio on a break. If Stocky can't beat that, if Pluto can get there...
Oh, Pluto knocks it in, yeah.
It's a good goal by Pluto. And it's a really good playthrough by Lachinio, because knowing that he needed to get that pass there and at least run interference on the Swarm member makes a lot of sense, and that's something that only really veterans are going to catch that. There's a lot of people who will just traditionally, oh yeah, I'm going to pass this thing and try to get back and be able to play for defense. But actually coming in and knocking around or blowing up your opponents is pretty smart. Whether or not he intended to do, I don't know, but it was actually extremely intelligent to do on that play specific.
Oh, Lachinio just knocks it out. I'm not sure if that was quite on target, but it looked threatening.
We have Pluto knocking it all the way to the zone. It looks like all 3 Untethered players are playing really close. They do have to be aggressive, but that might be a little bit too aggressive with 3 minutes left in the match. Yeah,
sure. Well, knocks it away, takes it over Pluto and Lachinio somehow. Lachinio completely misses that one. And Stocky and Lachinio combined to throw it up into the air. Waffle's going to get a shot away. Pashy's equal to it.
And it looks like Stock is going to knock it way deep in the zone. And Pashy has the ability to follow up, but all 3 Untethered players are there to defuse it again. And that's something that's happening a lot in this entire match. You have a lot of pretty decent-looking dumps into the zone, but they're not going fast enough.
Surely, yes.
There you go.
4-1.
So Swarm's up 4-1. That's going to make the first series here. Swarm will go 1-2 Untethered will go 2-1, so it's actually putting Untethered at an advantage, obviously, to be later in the brackets. But yeah, I'm curious to see how Swarm flips it later in the match, or later in this series, for when they play Cosmic, when they play Flipside.
Yeah, if this is anything to go by, then the server quality definitely, well, possibly will have something to do with it. I don't think you can call it coincidence that they've suddenly become this good when they switch to EU servers.
Right. Yeah, and not a huge surprise considering they were down 3-2, but Cosmic Aftershock went 3-0 against Swarm Gaming because Cookseer was not in that match, so just keeping you guys updated on that. So technically, it will be, assuming this current result holds, you'll have Cosmic Aftershock at the number 1 seed, you'll have Untethered at the number 2 seed, and then you have Swarm Gaming at number 3, and then Flipside at number 4. That is most likely going to change now that Cookseer is back and will be playing in the second round of games.
Indeed, yes. It will be interesting. There's still a lot of games to go. There's still 6 games for each team.
Yeah, and
so
yeah,
they can
that's
easily pull it back. Especially people like Swarm, who realistically at this point are going to go in with only 1 game down. Yeah, 1 game down on VQ.
Right, and that's the interesting thing about a tournament like this, because it does involve servers between Europe and North America, is making sure that that's as fair as possible. And I believe it's currently set up as fair as it can be. We're alternating every game for EU and NA when you're playing your international games, and granted that puts you at a disadvantage for that one, but hopefully you're going to end up hosting 2 of the 3 matches in the other one. And that is a really good knock-in by DeBoer. Let's actually jump over to him for that one. Launching from right around midfield and knowing exactly where it's going to be to get it just over the top of Waffles. Fantastic goal.
Yeah, absolutely lovely. And you definitely can't see VQ pulling this one back now.
Not at 5-1 with 30 seconds left. There's a point in time where you just don't even think. Granted, hey, yeah, we can believe and we can all do, yeah, it's fine. But there's a point where you're not going to be able to do that anymore.
Yeah, realistically, just consolidate everything and then go again in the next game. There could be another goal here. No,
well,
does enough to get away.
Diffusing it just enough to keep it off.
DeBoer's not going to give it up.
Oh!
On the line.
Does it count? Does it count as a half a goal at that point? No, probably not. GG's, everybody.
Not. I don't think Cloud would be too happy if we gave them 0.5.
So that again was Swarm versus VQ Untethered. We are going to jump back into the pool and see who we're playing next, and we'll be back shortly.